Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly sidereal forecast for July 27th through August 2nd. My name is Athen. So we've got a very simple week in the astrology. We've got a full moon taking place in your second house of finances and material values, the simple life. And we have Saturn squaring up to Jupiter, which is a very important aspect spanning this week and going into next week. Saturn going station direct, and then one aspect over the weekend. So that's it. That's as far as the major transits are concerned. So very simple, but I'm going to break it down and help you see exactly which houses these are associated with. So coming into this week, before we get into this week, we had a very important weekend, and that was change. And hopefully you've set off on a new course since the last weekend. We had two planets going retrograde, Venus and Uranus, as well as Uranus squaring that Mars. So this is always that energy of renewal. So coming into this week, anything that was prompting you over the weekend to take change with relationships, with your one-on-one connections, things like that, maybe contracts or business dealings or legal matters as well. A good way to come into this week, and maybe even relating to your self-expression and alone and spiritual time, important things to change up there. Same with that, Venus retrograde now is, continue to reflect on the things that are about your life path, about spirituality, expanding your horizons, your values associated with those things, your routine, your organizations and groups and stuff like that will be important coming into this week, as well as how you can have more freedom with your emotions at home or with your past and roots, which has been Uranus transiting your fourth house. This is autonomy, it's freedom to give there. So now reflecting on that coming into this week is certainly signifying change and shifting there. So, that's Monday. Tuesday will be that energy as we kind of come into this week, because we don't have any major aspects those 2 days. But then Wednesday, we start that 1 degree orb of your ruler Jupiter squaring up to Saturn. So this is a very disciplined kind of a week for everybody. That full moon's even happening in Capricorn. And this is especially the case for you guys, since Saturn is aspecting your ruler from a square position. So your guys' normal nature is obviously as Sagittarians, is expansion, it's possibilities, it's things like that. So that's great, because Saturn refines these things. So that's what we want to do, is we want to really, take that grounded approach to these possibilities, structure them, refine them, and through that, then we make those possibilities into a reality. And that's a lot like what this week and next week is looking like. So I really recommend that for everybody, especially relating to the deeper aspects of life, since Jupiter's been transiting this 8th house. He's been there for the past year. So you've had a lot of opportunities, hopefully, to really get deeper, understand the truth, share your wisdom about what's behind the veil of reality and things like that. And, how to get more open, more vulnerable, more honest and truthful with yourself and your relationships and just with life in and of itself, to release attachments there. All of that's perhaps very optimistic too, which is normally the case of Jupiter. So Jupiter is now going to be leaving that 8th house, going into the 9th, which is actually Jupiter's house, which is very nice. But before he does, which will be next week, but before he does, Saturn is squaring up to that Jupiter. So it's emphasizing that, anything to finish up involving those bonds, deeper connections, attachments, things like that, which has been this opportunity for you to release and to enjoy, is to take that disciplined Saturnian approach to those things this week. And that's what the square symbolizes, is taking action and really working hard towards that stuff. So Jupiter does also rule your 4th house of home and family. So anything involving that, I think, will be nice to utilize that Saturn energy also. So this is all coming in from a Saturn who recently went into your 11th house this month to finish up some things involving building solid foundations with groups and community-related things or organizations, progressive matters, things larger than self, maybe even income from work or satisfaction from work as well. So this month, in August, he's going to be in here. So it's about that hard work and discipline with that, and all of that will then be facilitating this, energy to put in towards this 8th house expansion, which has been the case for you. Now, what we can do too is we can look at a couple other signifiers of this, the depositor of Saturn, Venus. So, all the stuff you're reflecting on about life path, philosophy, where you're headed, what life's about, etc. since last weekend, hopefully, we'll be facilitating and we'll be sort of helping you gain, interestingly enough, more of this disciplined approach. Now, Saturn, who rules that Leo where Jupiter is, recently went into your 8th house last week. So There's been a lot of this, illumination. The sun in the 8th house is like a torch in the 8th house. It just illuminates the darkness. It illuminates the hidden. And so you're able to see that. And that's what it's doing, whether it's with yourself, relationships, work, or whatever it is. So that illumination and seeing the truth is what's going to be helping you expand. So that's going to be facilitating that Jupiter transit. So a couple things there I wanted to mention to help you really work with this Saturn squaring Jupiter, which isn't a bad transit, actually. Saturn is in dignity in Libra. Jupiter, is pretty well aspected other than the square. So it's just the most important thing is the more willing we are to set intentions and, work at it. That's what the square symbolizes. And when we are, then we're in flow with it. And it takes a lot of these possibilities, it makes them grounded, makes them real, which is really good when these two planets come together. So it's you in general, your ruler. Taking that Saturnian approach this week will be important. Then on Friday, when we have that full moon in Capricorn, nonetheless, there is that grounded, mature approach to things. And this is involving your finances, which you guys naturally are with the financial material side of life, generally speaking, for you Sagittarians, or at least can be. So here, a culmination point of the past 6 months, perhaps, of anything new you started in regards to your values, in regards to finances, assets, the simple pleasures of life. It's all about enjoying life, being grateful for what you have. And that's can be coming to a head here on Friday, as well as anything new you started or set off on in regards to relationships, which was that new moon in your 7th house 2 weeks ago. And maybe this deeper stuff is coming to a head, because with this full moon, what it does is it illuminates both areas. And this is the axis of values. And so while it's illuminating your material values, it's also illuminating, like I was saying with the sun, your non-material values and the deeper elements of life. So it's important here to, while enjoy the simple pleasures, to see the truth. And while you're seeing the deeper aspects and deeper values, to enjoy the simple pleasures. And so there's that balancing act that's very important here around Friday. But in either case, culmination and illumination of both of those areas of your chart. So that's Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, Saturn does go station direct after his 5-month-long retrograde of that. He recently went into your 11th in this month in July. And so anything that you've been recently working hard at and redoing involving those ideals, groups, and maybe things relating to work and stuff, continuing with that. But what you've learned over the past month in regards to that, start to put it into action, start to put it into motion from this weekend onward, because this is the last time Saturn will be in your 11th house for 27, 28 years until he comes back full circle again in the chart. So very important there with this station direct. Now also over the weekend, Mercury is going to be trining up to Uranus. So this is all about excitement. It can be an exciting weekend for all of us, and this is about the truth, the deeper stuff, So mixing things up with that, especially with all this freedom involving the feelings, the emotional bodies, a lot of this watery kind of energy here, but your sentiments, which can often be home and family, all that stuff maybe reflecting on, is prompting and can certainly assist anything exciting and new over the weekend involving that 8th house, involving relationships, and maybe even working career, since Mercury does rule your 7th and your 10th house. All right, Sagittarius, so have a nice week. Thank you again for all of your support. If you have any questions, please do let me know, and I'll see you all next time.